Healthy boundaries are flexible boundaries. So even if you have a boundary, be prepared to be able to maybe shift that boundary or make a change. You can change your boundaries, you can tweak your boundaries. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. So I wanted to come here. I'm actually, before I start, let me just say that I'm in the beautiful island of Aruba, and you can see a lovely flamingo here. Like, let's not ignore the flamingo in the background, right? But I wanted to just come here and talk about boundaries, what they are, why they're important, and how they can actually help you to have more time for yourself, how they can actually help you to find more balance. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are ultimately limits, okay? Limits or rules that you set to protect yourself. Flamingo does not want to be inside the video, but boundaries are rules and limits that you set for yourself, and ultimately boundaries are there to protect you and help you to maintain and protect your relationships. A lot of the time people feel that boundaries will actually ruin their relationships, and they will not. They actually are there to maintain your relationships. A lot of the time, because of how maybe in the past people have used boundaries and delivered boundaries, people usually have like a negative connotation around setting boundaries. So there are usually a lot of fear and a lot of resistance around setting boundaries. But ultimately, boundaries are healthy. Boundaries are self-care. So it's something that you need to remember when you are setting your boundaries. It's all about your delivery. It's all about how your tone when you are communicating. If you feel that when you are communicating your boundaries, maybe somebody's stepped on your boundaries, or they've crossed your boundaries, and you're like, no, this is disrespectful, you start to feel frustrated, or some negative emotions come up, pause. Don't go ahead and try and communicate at that point in time, because you know you're not going to be in the right space. So take some time, take a few deep breaths, calm down, and then communicate. Okay? Don't rush into this. Healthy boundaries are flexible boundaries. So even if you have a boundary, be prepared to be able to maybe shift that boundary or make a change. You can change your boundaries, you can tweak your boundaries, right? Rigid boundaries lead to a lot of resistance. Okay, rigid boundaries are unhealthy boundaries. So healthy boundaries are flexible boundaries, okay? And often if you feel like, okay, when do I need to set boundaries? It usually comes from inside, it usually comes from internally. So you usually feel it when people have stepped over your boundaries, or where you feel that you need to put a boundary in place. Okay, so this is in life and this is in business. So I want you to just think about times where maybe you have felt irritated, you've been upset, etc. What were those situations? So you want to identify the situation, then you want to identify what this boundary is that you need to set. So what is that new boundary that you need to set? And then how are you going to communicate that boundary? I always say, if you want to make setting boundaries easy for yourself, you want to make sure that you practice. So you want to know what it is that you want to say. So what is it that you are going to say? What is this new boundary for that particular situation? So again, boundaries are not only for others, they are also for yourself. So if it's for yourself, obviously you're not going to be communicating with yourself, but you will be clarifying that for yourself. So if it's for yourself, it might be that when work finishes at 5 p.m, I stop work, I put my laptop down and I go for a walk. And a great way for you to set your boundaries. The flamingos just over here stretching. Where are they? Hey, sir. Yeah. So, so where was I? So again, yeah, so that might be a example of a boundary that you would set for yourself. But maybe with others, maybe for example your clients that you might have, it would be that you are not going to communicate, or you won't really be able to do any work for clients, etc., your boss, what have you, after the hours after the hours of 5 p.m. So again, with that, you'd say, okay, I finished work at 5, so I'm not going to be able to go ahead and complete this work, but I'll get back to you in the morning. Yeah, so it's just about your delivery. You can be really straightforward, to the point. You don't have to beat around the bush. And communicate your boundaries is ultimately a conversation of what you don't want and what you do want. Okay, so I really hope that helped you. Hello from Aruba again. I am so hot, as always, in most of my videos. If you've got any questions, you want to talk about boundaries, let me know. We actually have a course all about boundaries, so how you can set boundaries, how you can communicate boundaries, and all of that good stuff, how you can deal with the resistance of boundaries in our course. So all of that information will be below. I also might have a workshop that's available, so that may be in the description below as well, so just check that out. But if not, just send me a DM. We can chat and talk through anything that you are struggling with or dealing with, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.